Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today I'm talking about lunge. You see, Block Course 17 just happened, and it was a pretty good event. I mean, most of the changes were good. I liked all the new maps, I thought the changes to the race scoring was better, I thought 5 feet was pretty good in party. But there was one change that stuck out to me, and that was that lunge now has team split points, and I don't know why. And I'm sure to have a talk about why I think this is a mistake and the other problems with lunge scoring, and then I'm going to give some thoughts on how to fix it. So first, the issue with lunge. This is the leaderboard for Block Course 17. Obviously pink was a bit strong, it happens, but the rest of the bouncing was alright in the end. But I want to look at specifically lunge. Now if you look at lunge's scoring, you notice first immediately that it's pretty small gap between first and last, only 500 points, which is okay. Some games have small point differences, even with the 1.5 multipliers as it was game 5. You know, look at Order Up, game before it, obviously it is 1000, and that is another team split game. So that is the first issue. If it's a team split game, the point gap kind of needs to be bigger, which is why I think it doesn't make much sense. But you know, it could be fine. You know, look at another earlier game, look at Race. I mean, 1000 point gap again, you know, pretty similar. But if you look at it more closely, that's just because Pink was busted. And it was actually a 400 point gap, and that makes more sense. It's an individual based game, so the team difference isn't much. So you know, the actual having 500 points difference in the teams isn't inherently a bad thing. It can work, it can be fine. But the difference of Race and lunge is if you look at the individual leaderboard for Race, and Frost first, 538, and 5 up, 475, Prince Am 470, 435. Right, obviously team split points I still think is, I don't think that's the best idea, but they made it a lot better this event. And if you keep going down, right at the bottom, you have Pixie at 61, Rev 65, Vkim 75, Della 76, right? Like, lower scores, and there's pretty significant gaps at every stage, right? Like, if you want to go, like, say, Bradoons here at 5th, 420 points compared to Jojo at 10th, 320, it's like 100 points. So it's very good for, you know, climbing placements individually. So even though the teams not the best, difference individually at least gives some sort of purpose for the event. Now, if we look at lunge, with the team split points, first individual is all of the orange team at 296. Last was Aqua, and they all have 229. That is only a 70 point difference. That is not a lot. In Race, that is the difference between Prince Am at 3rd and wolfeei at 6th. Or I guess more accurately, it'd be 5 up in 2nd and wolfeei at 6th. Not 1st and 40th. But once again, with team split games, that's normally fine, like Order Up. You know, if we go to Order Up's individual, you know, first is Green with 297, last is Ak of 162, you know, it's only a 70 point difference. Wait, no, that's not right. It's 130, sorry. It's 130 point difference, which, you know, it's not got most. Obviously, lunge is still closer, but it's not like a crazy gap like Race, where it's like 400. And that's my issue with the team split points, is that it means lunge is now both bad for team points and individual points. It's bad for both. It doesn't really affect either, which makes the game pointless. It gives no points individually, it gives no points as a team, so it doesn't have barely any outcome on the event. The difference in points in lunge between first and last is 500. If you look at the overall leaderboard, so all games, 500 points is about the difference between, to be fair, the difference between like two teams. 500 here, 500 here, right? Like this is like 300. No, yeah, this is like closer to 300. This is obviously only like 20. This is only like 200. So like, you know, you can just say, okay, well, lunge can still help you go up placement, which is like sure, I guess, but that is first and last, not the rest of, not all of the teams. If you look at lunge again, there is between the top 5 teams 200 points difference. That's nothing. It's only these 3 who did worse in the game. So it doesn't really do much for the event. But does that mean that the team split points is the issue? I don't think it is. I think it's, I mean, I disagree with the decision, but I don't think that's the core of the issue. Because if you look closer at lunge as a game, it's never been great for points as a team difference. And it has but individually it's had some difference. But like, I don't think it's the type of game that it should, as it's a PvP game that is team focused. So a PvP game that's team focused should probably be the other way around, which is why the team split points make sense. But then it should have a wide team differential, which it just doesn't have still. So this is why I think they need to do some changes in the scoring. And so I decided to have a look at the scoring itself, to sort of deep dive why this happens in lunge. And so I had a look at scoring. This is the up-to-date scoring for Block War 17 in lunge. The main way you get points, you get 3 points for a kill as the attacker, 7 points for the defender. You know, it's just a couple points. Makes sense. And then the way they do it is this. Perf score, which is your goals scored divided by your goals conceded or scored against you. And then, depending on what that number is, changes however many worth that each goal scored is worth in a game, and then also the round bonuses. And then we're looking at the teams and going, how did the Knights do so well? You can see they got 57 goals, 49 conceded, 86 kills. You know, it's a lot of kills. Pretty good positive differential. Seems all good. But if you look at the Thunders, decent kills, positive differential. This is second last. Why is this 7th? They have positive goals to goals conceded. They have, you know, average amount of kills. It should probably be like, I'd expect this to be like a 4th place sort of team. And if you look at team above them, if you look at say the Bandits, they have less kills and a worse average. You know, they have 4 more goals conceded than scored, but yet they're in 4th for the game. So that got me thinking, why? Because I look at this and I think Yellow should do better. They got more kills and at a better average. And so when you look at the actual scoring though, looking at the round bonus for the averages, they don't actually have a lot of impact. And so what ends up happening is the main way you get points are for the bow kills and getting the goal scored during the rounds. Those are the 2 main ways you get points. These end of round bonuses don't actually do a lot. And you know, you can see all these, you know, you see this and you think, well, you know, there's all these different options, surely there'd be pretty big variance, but this is all pointless. All you really need are these 3. Maybe these 4. That is all you need. The top 2 and the bottom 2, nobody's getting those realistically. And I had a look through, and I had a look through in Wolfie's VOD, and in the most recent Block Wars, only 3 of these were achieved the whole time. There was these three. The only three scores given out. And it was actually only these two for the majority. It was only once a team had a perf, as they call it, of 1.5 or greater. And the reason this is because of how the maths works. Let me show you. If we go to this is round 3, block was 17. As you can see here, you can see all the team scores in the bottom left. We have some, pretty normal scores here. And on average, teams will get around like the 10 or like it's like normally 10 to 15 goals scored, goals conceded. As you can see, Giants 8-8, Phantoms 12-13, 9-12, 15, 18, 8-9. But obviously we had some big outliers here with orange and blue getting a lot of goals scored and conceded. You see they're the top two teams at the moment. Now, this is the round where you get, obviously, all of the high scoring points. This is the one round where a team managed to get above 1.5 perf. And as you can, you can see here, Orange 21-15 is very impressive, right? But they don't actually get it. That's right. They're not even the team who has the perf. It's Yellow here of 9-5. Because that's how maths works. So even though they've got a 6 better, they've got 6 more goals scored than conceded, or Yellow only has 4, this gives the same points as Green's 8-8. Well, this gives more. 25 more. Which is crazy. Because this 21-15, compared to this 15-18, there's only 15 points difference to the bonus. Because Aqua, Red, Pink, Purple, Blue all get the same points. All of them get the exact same end of round bonus. 1 down, 3 down, is all the same. Because that's just how it works. That's just how the maths works, because the numbers are close together still, there's not a big enough difference. And so, this 8-8 and the 21-15, they're also the same. And it's crazy, because that's just how it works. And so, most of the time, there's only 15-point difference between the team's end of round bonus, meaning that the teams will end up getting around the same score, which is why I think that the team points overall end up being so close. And so, going through the footage, I looked, why did these 3 teams do the worst? And looking through, Red and Aqua had a negative ratio pretty much every round. I think Red had it once they won. I'm not sure about Aqua. I think they had negative ratio every round. And that's why they're, 2 of the bottom 3, significantly behind the rest. But Yellow had a positive I think Yellow went positive in 3 out of 5. So they should probably be with the rest, right? No. And it's because, even with this highest points, they have the lowest scores. Because they had because if you look here, Yellow have only 41 conceded, and only 44 goals. No other team has less goals. None. Despite also all of them having more conceded. Right, you have a look through. All of them have more conceded and more goals. And that is why. Because the goals are what really gives you points in this game. And the kills also help. But just the bow ones. Because the difference between this orange 21-15... Sorry, let's make it bigger. The difference between this orange 21 and 15 and this aqua 15 and 18 is the same as 2 kills as a defender. Like, that's crazy. Obviously the goals scored obviously gives them a big boost, and that's why they're the top team with blue. It's because of the amount of goals scored at this point. That's something that these 2 teams have done well. And Green did that, and Green just had a really good. They went positive all first 3, I believe, so that's why they're also still up there. And so that's why I think that this issue comes from. It's because the main way to get points is by scoring goals and getting kills as a defender. The averages don't matter. And on average, the kills each team gets are, not too dissimilar. If we look at this last event, we have 50 kills, 86, 63, 56, 71, 40, 47, 32. Like obviously there's like 50 between top and bottom, but like it's not too dissimilar, and also a lot of those are sword kills. But like the goal scored is where you get most of the points, because if you get just one 25-point goal, that is so many points, and it's crazy. And I think I have a proposition where I think it might solve some of the scoring. If you look here, I think the biggest difference we need to do with the game is to make the gap bigger between the team points. Because I think it should, because if reflecting on it, I think it should be team split. But I think the gap needs to be bigger if it's team split. And the way you do that is by changing this. You increase these points and make it more impactful compared to the points for kills and the points per goal. That's what I do. And then I also change these numbers, because in order to get 0.75 compared to 1, it's not a lot. Like, you have to go down by like, well, actually no, this isn't a lot. It's this. To go less than 0.75, I should say. It's like really hard. It's very rare. You have to go like negative by at least like 4 to do it. 4 or 5, and it literally didn't happen last event. So I think you should add in like a 0.85 or something, or a 0.9, and then also up here add in like a 1.25, because it's just always these two, and there's not much difference between them. So you need to have like on 100 points at 1.25 and increase these up, and then like just like honestly get rid of this. Nobody's getting in, but like there's not much difference here. There's only 10 points, and nobody ever got this one, let alone this one. So like if you get less than 0.5, I think you should just get 30 points. So just decrease these all, add in one in the middle, maybe just bump all the points up in general. That's what I'd do. Decrease these, and I think that might save the game. And I think it would get rid of a lot of issues I have with lunge in general. And that's just my thoughts. Obviously, I don't want to keep doing negative stuff. Obviously, I love Block Wars, and all of the changes to this event were good. And this isn't supposed to be hate or anything, this is just how I think you can fix the game. That was my main reason of doing this. And hopefully I'll be a bit more positive and have a good thing to talk about next video. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.